Well, my name is Bill Smith, and that actually is my name. It's on my driver's license. And I've been volunteering here since 2005. And it's become almost like a second occupation. I work in horticulture, do a lot with propagating plants and trees, and work with the plant sales for certainly the last 3 or 4 years, big time. Thoroughly enjoy it. Grow the plants and learn a lot about a whole lot of varieties. Sort of my specialty is ornamental trees, and having the garden and what we want to offer at the plant sale means that I'm constantly doing research and learning constantly with it, with a new variety or a new tree or something, and just a lot of fun. And we've got a great team there working with it.
And what do you have there in your hand?
Well, I also, thanks to the garden, I've gotten involved in hybridizing magnolias, which means I'm putting the pollen from one magnolia bloom onto the stigma of another magnolia bloom.
Wow.
And producing a hybrid. I just went out today and collected, I don't know whether you can get a picture of it or not.
Oh, yes.
These seeds from one of the crosses that are now coming in now. There must be at least 150 seeds on this. And when they sprout, it'll be a brand new magnolia plant, unknown to the world until they come up and we see what they do. And it's because of the garden and their support and the collection we've got here, and they're allowing me access. I put a little net on these things once the seeds go and start forming, so the birds and squirrels don't eat them.
Ah.
And I label each one with what I crossed it with. And some people coming through the garden might see these little nets and these little labels stuck on several of the plants here. And it's been just wonderful to do it.
So, will we find this at the plant sale if it's successful?
There have been a few of the hybrids that we put out at the plant sale. Most of them end up going to gardens to be tested, because it's a brand new seedling. I don't know what it's going to do. It could be ugly as homemade sin, or it could be spectacular, and it might take 5 or 6 years before we find out. So a lot of these go out to Magnolia Society members. I have plants that originated from Louis Ginter that are planted in Sweden, in Holland, in Belgium, in England, and California, and Texas, and up Massachusetts and Florida. They're all over the country because it's a lot of seed.
I had no idea. Okay, so for this particular one, can you tell us what it's a cross between, or do you know?
Yeah, it's a cross between a new Oriental evergreen species of magnolia that we happen to have one of in the garden. We're probably the only garden in Central Virginia that has this plant. It's called Uyinensis. And I crossed it with another Oriental species. A friend sent me pollen in the mail.
Oh my goodness.
From another one called Insignis. The Uyinensis has a white bloom. The Insignis has a deep red bloom. So I'm real curious as to whether we're going to get a good pink bloom out of this.
Or even, I wonder if white or red are a possibility.
It could be a possibility of a bicolor with white or red on the outside and white on the inside.
I've never been so excited to see a seed grow before.
Well, it's fascinating. So it's a lot of fun, and we've actually had, courtesy of Louis Ginter, we have a test bed over by the irrigation lake that has 60 of these hybrids planted out. And to date, about 17 of them have bloomed. And I'm now crossing the blooms from those plants with the blooms from some other hybrids.
Oh my gosh.
So they all just have numbers on them at this point. But some of them are really quite outstanding. And sooner or later, I think we'll produce a magnolia that we can name Louis Ginter.
That would be wonderful.
Which would be a hoot.
A magnolia named Louis Ginter. That would be fabulous. Or maybe we should name it Bill Smith.
No, Bill Smith is far too common. Let's give it something a little more exotic.
Great. Well, thanks so much for sharing the story.
Sure. Delighted to do it.